8:45, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by J. Yogaraj, read by Soundi Thavam. The international financial organizations have agreed in principle to provide the financial support to Sri Lanka in the future. The Chief Sanganayak of the Nuwara Kalabia region highlights the effective measures to be taken to solve the problems faced by Buddhist monks. Sri Lanka scraps COVID vaccination negative test requirement on overseas arrivals. Sri Lanka's official reserve assets increase in November 2022. The CEB to issue paperless receipts bills from January 2023. The vote on the third reading of the budget will be held tomorrow. It is stressed that the parents have a big responsibility in preventing children taking drugs. The government plans to establish many internationally recognized affiliated universities and branches of Asian universities in Sri Lanka. News overseas. The Taliban conduct first public execution since return to power. And in sports, Eden Hazard, Belgian playmaker, announces international retirement. The mandatory requirement to produce a COVID-19 vaccination certificate on entry into Sri Lanka has been lifted with effect from today. Further, all overseas arrivals are no longer required to produce a negative PCR or rapid antigen test RAT done either prior to boarding or on arrival, the Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, stated. In the event a foreign national tests positive for COVID-19 during their stay in Sri Lanka, they will be required to self-isolate for a period of 7 days at their residence, a private hospital or a hotel, and bear all related costs, he added. Sri Lanka mandated the carrying of a negative COVID-19 test and proof of vaccination when it opened its borders to foreign arrivals amidst the COVID crisis in 2021. The official reserve assets of Sri Lanka at the end of November 2022 were at $1,705 million, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka CBSL says. This is an increase of 5.86% from the official reserve assets figures of $1,804 million in October 2022. Meanwhile, foreign currency reserves increased from $1,610 million to $1,732 million by 7.6% in November 2022. The Chief Sanganayak of the Nuwara Kalabia region, the Most Venerable Pallegama Hemaratna Thera, said effective measures should be taken to solve the problems faced by Buddhist monks. The Thera, after being appointed as the Atamasthanaadhipati, addressed a meeting where the Mahanayaka of the Malwata chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thera, and other high religious dignitaries of the Mahasangha attended. The meeting also focused on the course of action to be taken when a Buddhist monk are insulted or humiliated at public places. Minister Prasanna Ranatunga instructed officers to formulate a land bank enlisting lands owned by the Urban Development Authority. The Ministry of Urban Development and Housing says the UDA possesses over 1,008 acres of lands and buildings in main cities of the island with higher land value. The minister said he is expecting to use such underutilized expensive lands according to a national utilization plan. It is also reported that some elements have forcibly encroached on such land owned by the UDA island-wide. The minister expressed his confidence by implementing a formal land bank. It would help to identify such lands that could be used to the country's economic development. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Committee on High Posts approved the appointment of chairmen to 4 institutions and an ambassador on Monday. Accordingly, the Committee on High Posts approved the appointment of Mr. Kandeepan Balasubramaniam as the ambassador of Sri Lanka to the state of Kuwait. Furthermore, the appointments of Mr. Upul Dharmadasa as the chairman of the Civil Aviation Authority and Mr. K.A. Vimal Rupasinghe as the chairman of the National Paper Company Limited were also approved by the Committee on High Posts. In addition, the appointment of Mr. M. Mahinda Salia as the chairman of the Pradeshia Sanvardhana Bank and Commodore C.E.H.S. Balasurya as the chairman of the Land Development Corporation was also approved at the said committee. Minister Vidura Vikramanayaka and members of Parliament Dr. Sudhashi Fernando Pulle Honourable Rishad Badruddin, Dharmalingam Siddharthan were present at the Committee on High Posts, presided over by Mahindra Abeyvardena, the Speaker of Parliament. The Ceylon Electricity Board has been directed to issue paperless bills and receipts to all customers with effect from January 2023, the Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara says. Instructions are given during a discussion with the CEB's management. The Minister has discussed the steps taken to reduce expenses and further measures that could be taken to reduce the costs at the CEB. Minister Wijesekara also gave directives to the CEB officials to hold the ongoing construction work of the CEB's new headquarters. He further stated that a decision was taken to regulate the fixing of street lamps and operating street lamps. Under the directives of Minister Wijesekara, it was also decided that outsourced services be carried out using the existing staff members, and the work that cannot be completed by the CEB be done with the assistance of local councils. The government plans to establish many internationally recognized affiliated universities and branches of Asian universities in Sri Lanka. State Minister Suren Raghavan said that there is no direct branches of foreign universities in Sri Lanka. The State Minister pointed out that around 35 private education institutions are conducting education activities to provide 100 varieties of certificates of foreign universities. The government plans to streamline these institutions starting from next year. That concludes local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The international financial organizations have agreed in principle to provide the financial support to Sri Lanka in the future. State Minister for Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya said a special roundtable conference was held yesterday in this connection with the participation of the potential stakeholders. Many dignitaries, including the Vice President of the World Bank, Vice President of the Asian Development Bank, and CEO of the IMF, also participated in this crucial discussion. President Ranil Wickremesinghe participated in this discussion representing Sri Lanka. The State Minister revealed this information while attending a function at Avisavela this afternoon and came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Celebrate Christmas and New Year with lots of CIB discounts. Valuable gifts with bank discounts till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
The police media spokesman, Senior Superintendent of Police, Nihal Thaldua, says that parents should pay attention on preventing children taking drugs. There is a subtle program to encourage children to take drugs. The parents should be vigilant on behavioral changes in children and their associates. He further pointed out the tendency of drug addiction has been identified due to the giving of excessive amounts of money to children and came to you in Watchlight.
Celebrate Christmas and New Year with lots of CIB discounts. Valuable gifts with bank discounts till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Making headlines tonight, China abandons key parts of zero COVID strategy after protests. The Taliban conduct first public execution since return to power. And Germany arrests 25 accused of plotting coup. China is lifting its most severe COVID policies, including forcing people into quarantine camps just a week after landmark protests against the strict protocols and controls. People with COVID can now isolate at home rather than in state facilities if they have mild or no symptoms. They also no longer need to show tests for most venues and can travel more freely inside the country. The Taliban have carried out what is thought to be their first public execution since the group's return to power in Afghanistan last year. A Taliban spokesperson said a man named Tajmir was killed at a crowded sports stadium in southwestern Farah province after he confessed to murder. Dozens of the group's leaders, including most top ministers in their government, attended the hanging. It comes weeks after judges were instructed to fully enforce the Sharia law. 25 people have been arrested in raids across Germany on suspicion of plotting to overthrow the government. The group of far-right and ex-military figures are said to have prepared the day X to storm the Riksdag Parliament building and seize power. And back to the headlines of the world news. China abandons key parts of zero-COVID strategy after protests. The Taliban conduct first public execution since return to power. And Germany arrests 25 accused of plotting coup. With that, we conclude this bulletin of world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
Amidst all challenges, we will rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
On to development news. The French development agency AFD signed a grant agreement worth €450,000 with the Ceylon Electricity Board, CEB, and Électricité de France, French electric utility, to support the increasing share of intermittent renewable energies in Sri Lanka's energy mix. The agreement was signed by AFD Country Director Reda Soiji, Chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Nalinda Ilangakun, and the EGF Centre for Transportation Systems engineering representatives in the presence of Jean-Francois Paquet, the Ambassador of France to Sri Lanka, and came to you in development news. And taking a look at sports, it's soccer. Belgium playmaker Eden Hazard has retired from international football at the age of 31. Hazard, who is an attacking midfielder or winger, made his Belgium debut in 2008 at the age of 17 and went on to win 126 caps, scoring 33 goals. His decision comes after Belgium were knocked out of the World Cup in the group stages. That came to you in sports news. We take a look at business news next.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
SLT Mobitel Enterprise Solution aims to drive the telco to techco transformation with a primary focus on enterprise customers and government entities. Our solution portfolio expands from a simple invoice telephone line to enterprise networking with private IPVPN, high-speed internet, Tier 3 certified data center, and multi-cloud infrastructure, managed services, security solutions, digital transformation solutions, and beyond, in addition to offering a basic shared web application to an advanced cloud-native application platform such as Kubernetes. We are able to accelerate an organization's digital transformation journey with these services. That's business news. Economic news up next.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Economic news, courtesy of...
For the 5th consecutive year, LOLC is awarded People's Financial Services Brand of the Year at the 2022 Slim Kantar People's Awards. As the People's Financial Services Brand of the Year, LOLC continues to place the customer first, and this has won the hearts, minds and trust of Sri Lankans, with yet another prestigious award as proof of this lasting commitment. LOLC, imagine the possibilities.
Notwithstanding a spate of global and local volatilities, the Board of Investment of Sri Lanka, BOI, has attracted foreign direct investment at record levels, amounted to $713 million in the first 9 months of 2022, which is 71% of the 2022 full-year target of $1 billion, revealed the State Minister of Investment Promotion, Dilum Amanugama, and came to you in economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
On to the weather report. The Met Department says the deep depression located over the southeast Bay of Bengal, 570 kilometers east of Trincomalee, is likely to move west-northwestwards, intensify further gradually into a cyclonic storm around 7th December evening, that's today. The system is likely to approach the coast of the North Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and South Andhra Pradesh over the southwest Bay of Bengal 8th December morning. Cloudy skies will prevail over most parts of the island. Showers will occur at times in the northern and north-central provinces and in the Trincomalee district. Heavy rainfall above 100 millimeters can be expected at some places in the northern province and the Trincomalee district. Strong winds about 50 to 60 kilometers per hour can be expected at times over the northern, north-central and eastern provinces. A few showers may occur in the western province and in the Gaul and Martara districts. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. And now to conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The international financial organizations have agreed in principle to provide the financial support to Sri Lanka in the future. The Chief Sanganayak of the Nuwara Kalaviya region highlights the effective measures to be taken to solve the problems faced by Buddhist monks. Sri Lanka scraps COVID vaccination negative test requirement on overseas arrivals. Sri Lanka's official reserve assets increase in November 2022. The CEB to issue paperless bills receipts from January 2023. The vote on the third reading of the budget will be held tomorrow. It is stressed that the parents have a big responsibility in preventing children taking drugs. The government plans to establish many internationally recognized affiliated universities and branches of Asian universities in Sri Lanka. The Taliban conduct first public execution since return to power. And Eden Hazard, Belgium playmaker, announces international retirement. With that, we conclude tonight's news broadcast.